found love, the real love. Let this be the real thing. Tell me now, what's on your mind? Whisper soft to me that you want me. There's magic in your fingertips, it's magic when we kiss. I can be myself with you, kiss me now, I insist. Make me yours, just take me now, I'm helpless to resist. Got me so invested in this thing, it's more than just a fling. It's more than just a fling. It's more than just a fling. I can't help that it is more than just a fling. Now I know that it's the real thing, the real thing. Take your time, I'm on a high, high. My body yearns for you to touch me. No, there's magic in your fingertips, it's magic when we kiss. I can be myself with you, kiss me now, I insist. Make me yours, just take me now, I'm helpless to resist. Got me so invested in this thing, it's more than just a fling. It's more than just a fling. It's more than just a fling. I can't help that it is more than just a fling. Now I know that it's the real thing, the real thing.
A very educated, a very attractive woman out of 41 years have not met Mr. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough time to find a lot of things out.
I bet.
And yet,
Mm-hmm.
no kids,
Mm-hmm.
single.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, but I am saying, are women's expectations unrealistic?
No, I'm gonna say, like I said on Nick, the question shouldn't be why isn't a woman of age, of success, of a certain caliber not married with kids? The question should be why are people rushing to the altar just to become divorcees or baby mamas and baby daddies? I think if anything, we need to be teaching our society, take your time, young man or young woman, so that you can get to know not just this person, but yourself first, so that you can choose a life partner, not that that person isn't exempt to divorce, instead of rushing to the altar just to become a divorcee or a baby mama and have multiple kids by multiple women, just to say you have broken families everywhere. I don't see no benefit in that. I believe, like I tell my brother, he's in here, Shane, all the time, and who's 31 with no kids and doing well for himself, take your time. You don't need to rush to an altar just to divorce this woman. And another thing is people who actually feel high valued within themselves, not financially, internally they feel high valued. They're not rushing to have a wife or a husband at the expense of divorce just to feel like they've added value to themselves. Because it's a deficit if you're marrying for the wrong purposes. It is an asset if you're marrying from a place of creating a family, of creating stability, of raising kids who can see this thing move and this house not be homeless, but this house have wealth in it, the real wealth that actually sustains. And so for me, I'd rather take my time choosing than end up doing time because I'm making wrong decisions. I'm good.
Say less. Next question. How young are you willing to go?
Ooh, I love that. See, now this is when the conversation gets good.
Come on now. We want to know that.
I'm gonna.
Because, like, look, I told you now.
Listen. Hold on.
Come on.
What?
Because
you going or I'm going? Who's going first?
You.
Okay.
I mean.
So I'm willing to. I think, late 20s.
Men, this is where you turn the TV all the way up. Go ahead.
Late 20s would be the youngest. However,
we got to put a number on that though. Like you 27, 26.
27-ish.
X's.
But again, it depends on the maturity level of that man.
But this is where I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
But this is where
I baited you. I knew where we were going.
Your patience has to give him the
100%.
patience to bring his value or his function up to his
100%. 100%.
Right.
100%.
But
100%.
So now
100%.
100%
yeah,
this too.
100%.
A woman who has high value will not entertain or be patient with a guy that does not have.
Yeah, especially if she has certain
100%.
100%. She will. Especially if she has certain especially if she has certain criterions that she knows most men of her age won't meet. Yes, she has to.
So therefore, I'm telling you, a man of high value is a transactional type of thing. So to your point, it's like, I know, I look at you, I look at women all the time. I have a beautiful establishment that we're in right now, Fellowship. It garners a consumer that's about their business.
Hi, everybody. Good evening, or good day, good afternoon, good morning. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mark. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. We've got a good one today, as I'm sure most of you have seen the interview with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and we are going to talk about quite a few things as it relates to the clip that I just played for you, but I think this is going to be a fun one. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Hello, Vacation Cliff. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And as all of you are coming in, I would like to kindly, please ask you to hit the button. Is it gonna show?
My name is Jillian. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Canada. The highest level of education completed was high school. I decided not to go to college, and I said I'm single, right?
And then
Okay, anyway, I'm not gonna fool with that. I've been trying to work through this internet, but anyway, please, as you're coming in, hit the like button. Welcome to Bella's Corner, where the truth is delivered with love. Again, I am so happy you're here. We've got a good one today. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have watched the entire interview, but I did watch the interview that we are going to chat about today. About like 1.5, 2-ish times. I watched it all the way through, and then I watched a few clips. Now, I did post a video discussing one particular subject as to something that Dr. Bryant said, and I'm going to post another one maybe tomorrow or the day after that once I get it edited. So I would appreciate if you go ahead and watch that. But today, we are going to talk about being 40, 41, and particularly a 40 or 41-year-old woman who says that she is ready to start a family. So during the interview, that is what Dr. Bryant said. She said she is looking to start a family. She can't wait to be a mother. And when she said that, I was just kind of like, okay, you're 41. And she did mention that she broke off 2 engagements. Now, upon my further research, apparently she has been divorced twice and had 4 engagements, and she doesn't have any children. So there are just those few things are certainly, and on top of her being 41, those few things are certainly concerning, and one could definitely deem those to be red flags. Now, she's obviously a beautiful, pretty, whatever word you want to use, woman, but at the end of the day, 41 is 41. 41 is not 31, 41 is not 21, 41 is not 35, 41 is 41. And I'm not knocking being in your 40s. If you're not aging, you're not on this earth anymore. So aging is certainly a blessing. However, we're not going to sit here and act like your age is not your age. All right. People say, a lady never tells her age, but in my opinion, I think it should be a point of being, for a lack of a better term, proud of where you are, because we would assume that with age comes wisdom, comes experience. Now, when it comes to being on the dating market, that obviously means that. So again, aging comes with experience. Aging comes with being set in your ways. Aging comes with maybe you're just a little bit more difficult, possibly, and again, set in your ways. And so being a 40-year-old woman, Come on now. We're not going to do this Wi-Fi. We're not going to do this. When it comes to you deciding now, this is when you want to start a family. With that being said, and I hope my internet doesn't act up too much. I'm going to get it fixed in due time. But until then, just work with me, everyone. It's so good to see you, Miss Beth Shua. She says, I am proud to be 48. I don't have any children, but I'm happy to take up the role as auntie. Absolutely. And I see nothing wrong with that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this clip up, and we are going to go ahead and dig into what has been discussed therein. So here it is.
A very attractive woman out of 41 years have not met Mr. Right. That's enough time to find a lot of things out.
I bet.
And yet, no kids, single. I'm not, but I am saying, are women's expectations unrealistic?
No, I'm gonna say, like I said, Nick, the question shouldn't be why isn't a woman of age, of success, of a certain caliber not married with kids? The question should be why are people rushing to the altar just to become divorcees or baby mamas and baby daddies? I think.
Skirt. Now we're probably going to go through this clip a couple times, but let me just pause here. Who noticed how quickly she deflected from that question? Oh, no. The question should not be, Cam, if women's expectations are too high. No. The question shouldn't be if women are delusional. The question should be, why are people rushing to the altar to get divorced and to become baby mamas and baby daddies? I mean, dodging. I mean, off the rip. That was a very valid question that Cam asked. And my answer would be absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Women's expectations are our expectations women in particular, expectations are unrealistic because of the whole fairy tale. I always imagine my husband to be this way or to work this job and my life to be X, Y, and Z. Absolutely. And then on top of us being in the social media age and, feminism seems to, as I've said before, have a women in a chokehold. Women's expectations, especially of men in the dating market when it comes to marriage and family and all of those things, definitely are unrealistic. So again, she said that should not be the question, but the question should be, why are people rushing to the altar?
I think if anything, we need to be teaching our society, take your time, young man or young woman, so that you can get to know not just this person, but yourself first, so that you can choose a life partner, not that that person isn't exempt to divorce, instead of rushing to the altar just to become a divorcee or a baby mama and have multiple kids by multiple women, just to say you have broken families everywhere. I don't see no benefit in that. I believe, like I tell my brother, he's in here, Shane, all the time, and who's 31 with no kids and doing well for himself, take your time. You don't need to rush to an altar just to divorce this woman. And another thing is people who actually feel high valued within themselves, not financially, internally they feel high valued. They're not rushing to have a wife or a husband at the expense of divorce just to feel like they've added value to themselves. Because it's a deficit if you're marrying for the wrong purposes. It is an asset if you're marrying from a place of creating a family, of creating stability, of raising kids who can see this thing move and this house not be homeless, but this house have wealth in it, the real wealth that actually sustains. And so for me, I'd rather take my time choosing than end up doing time because I'm making wrong decisions. I'm good.
Say less. Next.
Now, all of that sounds good. But here's the thing. Advising a man that it is best for him to wait, to get married, to settle down, to, find a wife, have children, wait until, let's say he's 35 or whatever the case is. I think that's good advice because a lot of times it takes time for men to truly step. Now, granted, a man being a man is not dictated on his age. So I want you all to know that I understand that. But just, hear me out. Sometimes it takes a man time to settle into his masculinity, to settle into his style, to set into his comfort in terms of who he is and what he's made of himself. It also, especially in this economy, certainly in a work climate, certainly takes time for a man to build his financial stability in whatever career field that he goes into. And of course, in society in general, in culture, really, the man is expected to be the main, maybe not the only, but to be the main provider, the main source of income in the home. So with that being said, it would be appropriate to advise your brothers, your cousins, or whomever, hey, it's all right to hold off marriage until, again, say you're 35 or whatever the case is, to establish yourself financially. And that way, when you decide that you're ready for a family, to start a family, you're financially stable in that. Because, again, of course, that is certainly important. Now, I don't advise against a man maybe not necessarily being as stable as he could be, say, in the future. And if he finds a wife, then he decides to go ahead and get married. I'm not speaking against that, but you all see my point. That's good advice for a man. Now, when it comes to a woman, I just hear, just, oh, girl, go get your education, go get your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, your PhD, all of this. And then when she's done with her education, she's 30, 35, and then she wants to step into her career field, and she wants to travel, and she wants to do this and do that. And then she wakes up, and then she's 35, and now she's deciding she needs a husband, or wants a husband. She wants to be a mother. She's ready to quote unquote settle down. I don't think that is appropriate advice to give to women. I really, really don't. It is best, as all of you know, most of you know, it is best for women to use your youth and your beauty, or rather not use it, but capitalize on your youth, on your beauty, on your internal youth, in terms of your reproductive health and things of that nature. It is best not to wait until you're geriatric, until you're 35, 40, to decide that you want to quote start a family. That is not wise at all. Who wants to be 55 crawling around with a baby? Who wants to be 70 years old at their child's high school graduation? As a woman, especially at that age, I want to be settled. You know what I'm saying? I want to be, doing things happily with my husband. I don't want to have to be taking care of my children. I want my children to be grown by then. I want some grandbabies. You know what I mean? So again, I don't think that is appropriate advice to give to a woman, while I do think it is appropriate advice to give to a man. And another thing, her saying she wants to take her time to get to know herself and to know what she wants and all of that. Again, that sounds good. But here's the thing. We all change. We all evolve. And the purpose of marriage is to evolve with your spouse. Because as we age, as we gain age, time, and experiences, that is what causes us to become more wise in our years. And that's what causes us to evolve. The more we see, the more we experience, that is what causes our personal evolution. And you certainly can and are supposed to evolve in your marriage. So let's say we become, for lack of a better term, new people, or a new person every 7 years. It's like you have to get to know yourself every 7 years. And so now you're 40 and you've evolved about 6-7 times. And you're still going to have to try to discover yourself in order to find the right spouse, or in order to choose the right spouse for you. When is enough going to be enough? When are you going to reach that self-actualization point, to the point where you'll say, okay, I think I know myself well enough to, again, quote, choose the right spouse? It's just, we hear this a lot, but it's just it's giving moving the goalpost several times over. It's giving I'm afraid, I'm reluctant because I'm unsure, I don't want to make a mistake, I want to make the perfect decision. When that's unrealistic, which goes back to the first question of what Cam said. Are women's expectations unrealistic? Absolutely. Absolutely. You are to evolve with your spouse, with the one who you choose to be with, because I promise you, as long as you maintain a friendship, being adaptable, having clear and concise and respectful communication with your spouse, and if the both of you are open to, well, I mentioned adaptability, but are open to the both of you evolving, the two of you will be quite all right. When you marry someone, you become one flesh. As he grows, you grow. As you grow, he grows. But again, the idea of I want to discover myself and learn myself, as much as I can before choosing a man to marry, that means you'll never get married. You'll never fully know yourself. Do you know how much my body has changed even since I've had children? I'm getting to know myself all over again. Over and over again. My husband's getting to know me over and over again. Simply by having children. And I'm still in my 20s. But it takes patience. I don't know. That I just think that notion is silly. And it seems like it's rooted in fear. It's rooted in being fearful of the unknown. But at the end of the day, when you drive your car to the grocery store, you don't know what's going to happen on the way. You don't know what can happen, or if you're on your way to work or whatever the case is. Everything's unexpected. But you shouldn't constantly live in fear. And then another thing, and we're going to keep going in this clip. But she said, why should we rush to the altar just to get a divorce? Just to create broken families, to create, broken homes and becoming baby mamas and baby daddies. Now, again, if you watch the entire interview, this clip is from toward the end of the interview. But if you watch the entire interview, you'll know in the first half of the interview, and those clips went viral, she got on Cam about essentially saying that he's fearful of getting married because he doesn't want to get a divorce. His fear, and that's what most men say, especially men of means, his fear isn't getting married. His fear is in possibly getting divorced. Now, she got on him about creating broken homes, which I completely agree with. Now, we understand a strong and flourishing community is created on or created with multiple proper families. Without proper families, there's no flourishing, and successful community. And that's why the Black community in particular is so broken. Because we've been plagued with the idea of how cute it is to have multiple baby daddies and all of this and all of that. But that's another conversation. But my point is, I agree with her with getting on Cam on that. But here's my thing. She sounds like a hypocrite now, because an hour later, after she got on him about that, she's then saying out of her own mouth the reason that she's waiting to get married is because she doesn't feel like she should be rushing toward possibly getting a divorce. She sounds just like Cam. I just thought that was interesting. Very masculine. Let's keep going.
Question. How young are you willing to go?
Ooh, I love that. See, now this is when the conversation gets good.
Come on now. We want to know that.
I'm gonna.
Because, like, look, I told you now.
Listen. Hold on.
Come on.
What? Because you going or I'm going? Who going first?
You. I mean.
So I'm willing to. I think. Late 20s.
Men, this is where you turn the TV all the way up. Go ahead.
Late 20s would be the youngest. However,
we got to put a number on that, though. Like you're 27, 26.
27-ish.
X's.
Mm-hmm. But, again, it depends on the maturity level of that man.
But this is where, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah,
But this is where
I baited you. I knew we were going.
Your patience has to give him the patience
100%.
to bring his value or his function up to his
100%.
value.
100%.
Right.
100%.
But
100%.
So now
100%.
100%
yeah,
this too.
100%.
A woman who has high value will not entertain or be patient with a guy that does not have.
Yeah, especially if she has certain
100%.
100%. She will. Especially if she has certain especially if she has certain criterions that she knows most men of her age won't meet. Yes, she has to.
So therefore, I'm telling you, a man of high value is a transactional type of thing. So to your point, it's like, I know, I look at you, I look at women all the time. I have a beautiful establishment that we're in right now, Fellowship. It garners a consumer that's about their business.
We're going to go over the clip. Thank you so much for your donation, Bathsheba. I greatly appreciate it. Let me give you what I owe you. Thank you. Miss Bathsheba says, sadly, the church is complacent on keeping women single for the purposes of solely serving the church. They use the Apostle Paul's word in 1 Corinthians 7 to justify this. This has been my experience in my 20s and 30s. I definitely think that's interesting. I think that's a good point. Of course, as we know, I'm Christian, and I think if any church or if any pastor is operating in trying to keep the single in their ministry, then whomever's in that ministry, they need to get about their church. They need to get from about that church. Because marriage, obviously heterosexual marriage, was created by and ordained by God. So if you're trying to keep people single, keep the women single in your church simply to serve them, it's giving cult. Not a church, not a ministry. But that's all I'm going to say on that. Hi, Dr. Thunder. Good to see you. Hi, Miss Lucasely. Hi, Future King. Good to see you. Hi, Celine. Hi, Danny. Good to see you. Good to see you. Comment I wanted to highlight here, and then we're going to continue to move forward. Hello, Christina. Christina says you can have it all. That's why we have in vitro. When you are older, you also have the wisdom and patience. You don't get your healing and knowledge until of self until your 30s. See, here's my thing with that. I get your point, Christina, but in vitro is not natural. God created our bodies to be able to conceive naturally, not by using medical procedures because you decided to wait past your prime, past your fertility window in order to conceive. Now, I understand that there are cases where women do suffer from infertility problems for whatever reason, maybe due to health issues or whatever the case is. So I'm not necessarily knocking that. But the point is, your comment is based in a feminist mindset. No, you can't have it all. No one has it all. Even the people who, where it seems like they have it all, there's still something missing. Unless their foundation is rooted in God, who provides joy and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it is completely unrealistic to try to create your world based on I can have it all, because there's going to be something that you missed. This woman she's 40, saying that she's ready to start a family. And we're going to go deeper into this because this conversation, this interview on Cam's channel actually came at an ironic time frame because my husband came to me with a situation of someone whom he knows who's a lady, and she's a career woman, and she's in her 40s, or she's just turned 40, and now she's ready to start a family. Here's the thing with that, with the idea of you can, quote, have it all, and you have the wisdom and the patience. And see, and the thing is, Christina, I agree that you have wisdom, more wisdom and more patience the older you get. However, is it wise to decide to start your family in your 40s, especially as a woman? Christina, I don't know if you have children or not, but I've got my third one on the way, and I'm in my 20s, and I can tell you, and I get it, women have done this. Women, have had babies and all of that, into their 40s or whatever cases, even though that isn't common, but, and it definitely, certainly isn't the most healthy thing to do, but it takes your body time once you drop that baby in postpartum to fully heal. It takes the woman's body about 2 years for her to start feeling herself postpartum. And that's without her conceiving again in those 2 years. So if you want one child or multiple children and you're deciding to start in your mid or late 30s, that could certainly pose extended healing periods of time. Because the older you get, the slower your body typically heals. Now, people, everyone's body is different depending on how they took care of themselves. But I think it's unrealistic, respectfully, to base your life around, I can have it all, and when it comes to kids, I can always get IVF. I just don't think it's a good idea. Miss Beth Shua says, I suffer from infertility and could not have children. My husband and I tried IVF once. All that money and stress for God to decide it was not going to take anyway. And, I really, I have definitely a heart for women who, have wanted children and they've suffered or experienced rather infertility. And because many women, they want children, so my heart goes out to women like you, Miss Luke Hazley, and other women who have had your experience. And and again, I'm not speaking against that, because I think IVF it's a beautiful thing. It's a medical option and procedure that I think is created from God. But to, again, base your life around, well, I'm just going to purposefully pass over husband after husband because I want everything particularly my way, rather than taking things the more natural way, because I can have it all and I can always use this procedure, and I may not necessarily need it. I just personally, I don't think that is wise. Exactly. And it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. People say, well, I can always get IVF, as if it's 100, as if it's going to take, as if it's, 80-90% possible to take, and it isn't. Okay. Yes, and IVF is expensive. Exactly. Okay. Let's keep going. So I'm going to bring this clip back up, and we're going to go over it again.
A very educated, a very attractive woman out of 41 years have not met Mr. Right. Mm-hmm. That's enough time to find a lot of things out.
I bet.
And yet, no kids, single. I'm not, but I am saying, are women's expectations unrealistic?
No, I'm gonna say, like I said on Nick, the question shouldn't be why.
Yes, because I could have it all. I could get IVF. I could get his hair again. Yes. Absolutely.
Why isn't a woman of age, of success, of a certain caliber, not married with kids? The question should be, why are people rushing to the altar just to become divorcees or baby mamas and baby daddies? I think if anything, we need to be teaching our society, take your time, young man or young woman, so that you can get to know not just this person, but yourself first, so that you can choose a life partner, not that that person isn't exempt to divorce, instead of rushing to the altar just to become a divorcee or a baby mama and have multiple kids by multiple women, just to say you have broken families everywhere. I don't see no benefit in that. I believe, like I tell my brother, he's in here, Shane, all the time, and who's 31 with no kids and doing well for himself, take your time. You don't need to rush to an altar just to divorce this woman. And another thing is people who actually feel high valued within themselves, not financially, internally they feel high valued. They're not rushing to have a wife or a husband at the expense of divorce just to feel like they've added value to themselves. Because it's a deficit if you're marrying for the wrong purposes. It is an asset if you're marrying from a place of creating a family, of creating stability, of raising kids who can see this thing move and this house not be homeless, but this house have wealth in it, the real wealth that actually sustains. And so for me, I'd rather take my time choosing than end up doing time because I'm making wrong decisions. I'm good.
Say less.
Now, she says she wants to take her time choosing. And then back to how my husband told me that someone whom he knows, she's 40, she's, at the top of her career, she's doing well, and she wants to start a family. Now, here's the thing, ladies, and this is, maybe something you've heard before or maybe not, but listen to me. Hear me. Hear Femininity Coach Bella. Women, we do not start families. That is not in our lane. It is the man who starts the family. Why? Because the man controls access to the marriage. Now, of course, we're talking about proper families, right? I'm not talking about a ready-made family. I'm not talking about a single mother situation, but a proper family. Yes, we choose, so you can choose to accept or deny a proposal. But at the end of the day, you're not getting a proposal without him getting down on one knee. Because he provides the procreation. He's the seed. We're the earth. We're the land. He is the one who creates the legacy, who is the start of the legacy. We're the foundation that he builds it on. So women who say, I'm ready to start a family, that isn't up to you. That's up to the man in your circle whom you come across, who you decide to give a chance as to if he wants to start it with you. And then here's another thing that you have to consider, especially when you're consciously deciding that you want to, finally become a wife and a mother at such a well-advanced, big age, is how long you could be 40 today, but who's to say that you're not going to meet someone at 42? Dr. Bryant says she's ready to start a family and she can't wait to become a mother. But who's to say that she's going to meet a man today at 41? She may not meet one that meets her expectations and meets her standards until she's 43, 44, 45. And then who's to say that he's going to propose quickly? Granted, she's had 4 engagements. But who's to say that he's going to propose within a year or two? So now you don't have a ring, you don't have an engagement until you're 46. And then that's when the babies come. Now you're pushing 50, trying to conceive. Ladies, that isn't wise. Why can't you at the same time, and I have a degree, and I accomplished things well or directly after earning my degree, and then I stepped into motherhood, and being a wife. So I understand wanting to gain your education, and I understand the benefits of it. Believe me. But why can't you do well in your studies, advance in your studies and your career, and get to know yourself, and work toward building a life with a man? Why does it all have to be compartmentalized? Why do you have to hold off on the thing that's best to do while you're still young or while you're still in your prime, until you've reached, some goal that you may not even truly be satisfied with getting later? Yes, your career, you may achieve getting your PhD, which is a wonderful accomplishment. But at the end of the day, you're still going home lonely. I'm a PhD, but I'm crying myself to sleep because I'm lonely. Because I have no man who's there on a consistent basis, who loves me for me, who can pour into me. I'm pouring out in my career. I'm pouring out to my clients. I'm pouring myself into my business, but there is no one who I can confide in and cry to and lay on, and whose shoulder I can lay on. I have no rock that I can go to in the form of a spouse to pour into me, because I've decided to push off that important thing within most people's lives to build a career, to create a husband out of my career. Why can't you just do both? So now you're 40, saying, okay, again, I'm ready to start a family, when that's not your choice. This type of woman may say, well, especially the woman who's been engaged, right? Dr. Bryant has been divorced twice and engaged 4 times. So that's 4, 5, 6 husbands. She had her husband 6 times, y'all. And they were insufficient. You know what that reminds me of? Ebony K. Miss IVF. Miss, I can have a baby to love me since the means, white, black, green, orange, or indifferent, are insufficient. So I'll just have a baby. I selfishly have a baby to love me. That's what that sounds to me. Just another side of the coin. Same coin, just another side. Or maybe some die. No dice. One side of the dice, but it's the same one. You had your husband 6 times, 6 chances, 6 men who you chose in those seasons in your life that they were enough for you, and then you broke it off, or you guys got divorced for what? Maybe it's you. Maybe the therapist needs some therapy, respectfully. And I say that with love. Ladies, sometimes we have a problem with sticking through things. As I mentioned earlier, the point of being with someone and having a longevity in your marriage and in your relationship is being adaptable to the individual evolution that you're going to go through due to age, time, experience, as well as his. You have to be adaptable to the evolution of, again, the both of you personally and together. As soon as the going gets tough, you're ready to leave. This easy bake oven society has you thinking that when things get tough, when you get frustrated, when things aren't going your way, You just click the easy button and you can exit. But that isn't honorable. And then you got a resume of marriage after marriage, engagement after engagement. Can't keep a man for nothing. But you've gained career notoriety. You're stacking up financially. But you're still seeking. You're still broken. You're still lonely. You're still dissatisfied. Because you don't even have the ability or the wherewithal to settle into a situation that's going to be tough only but for a season. But you weren't even willing to go through the storm. You weren't willing to have the patience. But anyway, some of the older women may say, well, I broke off the engagements because I just wasn't ready. Y'all, my nose itches, excuse me. I just wasn't ready. Or those men, they didn't line up with my purpose. What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? You got to the point all the way where he's asking you to be his wife. And you hadn't figured out up until that point that he wasn't aligning with your purpose, whatever that is. And what do you mean? Do you have two different religious beliefs? Two different sets of morals? You want children, he doesn't. He wants to live in one state, you want to live in another. Like, what does that mean exactly? And have you thought about coming to a compromise? Because that's what couples do. They compromise. Everyone doesn't always get their way all the time. Because that's life. That's marriage. A woman may say, when she's 40 and broke off the engagement, she may say, I wouldn't be the woman who I am today. I wouldn't have achieved the things that I have achieved thus far had I married them or had I married him. But you don't know that. Many times, ladies, a good masculine man, he has his goals, but he's, of course, always aware of and open to helping you facilitate your own goals. Even if you have children. He's not going to stop you from trying to advance your education or create your business or build a podcast or whatever, chase after certain certifications or something like that. He's not going to stop you. It may have to wait for some reason, but he's not going to stop you, but he's going to support you. So saying that, I wouldn't have been where I am today had I married them, had I married him, you don't know that. Maybe you could be further in life and more satisfied in life had you gotten married to, I don't know, the second guy who proposed. You had your husband several times over. Very selfish. Hi, Mrs. She says, so good to see you. Hey, hot fam. True. Exactly. I agree. More than likely. Hello, hello. And then here's another thing. The age range. Most women in their 40s are not trying to be with no 27-year-old man. Not long term. Not long term. Maybe, when she wants to get hot and busy, when she wants to have a good time, but not long term. For him to become your husband, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But what is a 27-year-old man going to do with a 41-year-old woman? Someone please enlighten me. Anybody? Many women in their 40s, they prefer a man closer to her age and possibly even older. But the thing is, if you're just now wanting to start a family and you want children, is that man, let's say you want a man who's between 40 and 45, is he going to want to have babies with a woman who's 40? And you say you don't want him to have children already. So you're thereby slicing your options. I think ultimately the doctor here, I think she squandered many of her chances on becoming the mother that she wants to be. I think she squandered her time because maybe she felt like she was so pretty, too pretty to deal with this, too successful to deal with that. I could get better options. I don't have to deal with this. Or maybe she's trying to therapize her husbands, her fiancés. I think it's possible that she became unsufferable. And as we know, the older people get, the more stuck in their ways they get, the more stubborn they get. And so for a woman to go 40 years, let's say she left the house at 16, 25 plus years on her own, running through relationships, had engagement after engagement, marriage after marriage. I think she's been through so much that she may seem quite callous to the good man, unavailable, won't listen. She's making it seem like she's gonna listen, but I don't really know. Beth Shue said, treat her as a sugar mama. Exactly. Hi, Burrow. Ladies, I would highly advise against waiting until your 40s to look for love, to decide to, quote, start a family. You don't want to be out here looking all sad like Vivica. Vivica Fox sad at 60. Sad and lonely. Lisa Ray. Beautiful in her prime. Gorgeous, pretty, fine. Single. In her 60s. Tracy Ellis Ross. Coping. Naked on Instagram. Look good for her age, but naked. Distasteful behavior for a woman of her caliber and age. But that is what these women have done because they decided that they were too good for the options that they had. They were too good for the men that proposed to them. The men who they were married to, they outgrew them. Ladies, we have to reach some sort of joy in the foundation of our hearts. And how can you find that in God? A true relationship with God. Let him get your self-esteem together, and you lean on him for your joy and happiness. And then that way you can build off of that with a relationship with a human being, with a man. A lot of y'all are dissatisfied with everything in your life. That's why you cannot find contentment in your relationships. You can't even get along with your siblings because you're dissatisfied with your own self. But then it's everybody else's fault. It's everyone else's fault that you can't seem to keep a relationship. It's everyone else's fault that you're having negative experiences on the dating market. Yes, there are some trash men. There are trash people. But sometimes it's time to do this. Because when you do this, that is when this will change. That's when your environment will change. Stop complaining about your environment and change your inner environment. And then your exterior will begin to reflect your interior, will reflect off of your interior, the contents of your heart. Okay. Now, those are just, my observations from that part of the interview, from the interview as a whole. And as I mentioned, she sounded very, very masculine. She gave the same answer that Cam gave, basically, as to why he doesn't want to get married, even though he has 8 children by 3 women. And she called him out on his fear of getting divorced. And then she said the same, it came full circle toward the end of the interview. Masculine. Yes, she's pretty. Yes, she had her hair down. She had her nails done, claws on. But if you rewatch the interview, you'll realize that she seems quite masculine. Was she truly submitting to the men she was with? Submitting to their order, to their structure? Was she truly being respectful of what those men brought to the table? Or was she too arrogant? Attitude popped off a little bit too much. I don't know. But here are some of my final thoughts when it comes to the interview as a whole. I don't think Cam was fully listening. I think most of the interview, he was simply just, listening to respond rather than listening to actually take in the information that she was saying. Because again, there were some things in the interview that I did like that she said and that I agreed with. And I think because Cam felt a little attacked by some or half or many of her statements, he just kind of blew over them. So I thought that was kind of funny. Another thing is, he said he was taking his time. He's taking his time with marriage. While Jazzy, that comedian girl, just had his baby. And that's his girlfriend. See, I didn't know. I have a clip. I used a clip of her in it, and she sounded something, about her nurturing and things like that. And I was just agreeing with her. I had no idea who she was in, because I don't follow celebrities. Like, I don't follow anybody. I don't follow couple news. I really don't, unless I see something on my Instagram page. I don't know who's with who. Like, I really don't. So I didn't know that she was with Cam Newton at the time. And this is before she would conceive their child. But anyway, Cam was saying he's taking his time while he has a girlfriend. This man during this interview was just embarrassing that girl. And she was, talking about in her videos that she's different than the other baby mamas. No, ma'am. Apparently not. Because that man wouldn't have had the answers that he was giving. You were just the next one up, babe. And I mean, that's the real. It is what it is. This came up on my timeline. Y'all, don't let the consciousness fool you. Common been making his rounds. As you all know, Erykah Badu was in that mix. That's Cam. Jazzy girl, you was just the next baby mama up. And he says he wants more children. He just wants God to bring them. Children are a blessing. Yes. Yes. However, this man is consciously creating baby after baby with no wife because he's fearful of what divorce could bring. And then he's adding God into his foolishness, talking about, I just want God to bring them. Sir, don't add God into your foolishness. And then he said, what did he say? He said, life be lifing. And I believe he was referring to his situation with his children, his baby mothers and all of that. He said, life be lifing. And you just deal with whatever life brings you. And we make the best choice out of the things that we have. Now, I agree, life does life. And I can understand if someone has had one and maybe even two children out of wedlock. Out of wedlock and even with two different people. I get it. But then baby 4, baby 5, 6, 7, 8. No, that's when it becomes a conscious choice. You are consciously making those choices. It'd be different if the 8. It would be different if the 8 children were maybe by one woman, maybe even 2. But 3 women. But here's the thing. There's going to be another woman lining up to have his next 2 babies. Because of his money, because of his fame. Just like how those women are lining up to date Common next. Common was real common. Cam gonna be camming. Because there's always gonna be a woman, just like Jazzy, talking about, well, y'all ain't never had no money come up to you trying to be with you and trying to do this and try to do that with you. You ain't never experienced it, so how can you say you can never? You can never because you could never. And he's sitting up on his podcast talking about he wants more children and he's going to take his time with marriage and da-da-da. While he's over there fishing for his next baby mama in the doctor. How embarrassing. Y'all keep having the babies by the same man because he got money, because he got fame, because he has notoriety. And then you're calling yourself high value. You're calling yourself high functioning or whatever. But you're lining up to be a man, to be the man's next baby mama. That's completely demeaning. Again, I get it. People make mistakes. But as a whole, ladies, if you want to be a wife, please don't be next in line to have to be baby mama 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what gold diggers do. That's what women who are for sale do. And I'm gonna say these last two things, and then we're going to get out of here. While I agree with many of the things that Dr. Bryant said, as it relates to the broken family, the broken home, dealing with your personal trauma and things of that nature, I can understand, and mainly men have said these things, but people question people who give relationship advice and who are relationship coaches who do not have a successful relationship or a successful marriage on their track record. Especially considering how many she's had. It's certainly iffy. And it definitely makes you go, hmm. And then lastly, I'm going to say this. That dress she had on, how distracting was that? Very, very, very distracting. Ladies, if you want to be looked at a certain way, at a certain caliber, if you want to be seen as a woman of class, of elegance, grace, a woman who's to be respected and not objectified, I would highly advise against wearing what would appear to be maybe some type of club dress, or I'm going out with my man to dinner or something dress on. Especially when you're getting up on I was going to say single man, whatever, a man's podcast as a doctor who's a relationship coach, who's a therapist. It is best to represent yourself with more decorum than what we saw, in my opinion. With the claws, the long stiletto nails, all the cleavage out, a little bit of under boob, tight. That doesn't scream class. It screams, give me attention. Give me sexual attention. Ladies, always remember to keep it classy and never trashy. And that was steering toward the side of not so classy. Not so classy. I think that Dr. Bryant, again, some good advice, but I think overall she sounded quite masculine. Once she slightly opened up about her feelings in terms of her choosing her spouse, her partner, or whatever the case is, I think she sounded quite masculine. And I think that is a huge reason as to why she is 41 with no boyfriend, no husband, and no children. Because it's almost like she literally became the man that she wanted. And now her expectations are through the ceiling or through the roof. And now no man who's come across her path can satisfy her discontentment. I think she, and this is not to knock against her accomplishments at all, but I think she, for lack of herself, she feeling herself too hard. Although she says that, you know, she had to get over her pride and things of that nature, I still think that she's still got some of that pride that she still needs to work on. That's been hindering her from actually finding satisfaction in a relationship with a man that leads to a lasting marriage. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. That's ironic, right? CNNC, that's something. Lion says, I thought she was attractive until I started listening to what she said. Cam is just another Pookie with money. If he keeps this up, he's not going to have any money, right? Because they're going to be going to his baby mothers and those children. Exactly. And a lot of athletes go broke. Like almost 80% of them go broke. Granted, he's retired, you know, but still. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. Agents of chaos. Good point. But yeah, that's all I got. So ladies, I urge you, do not subscribe to the go to school, get your education first, cut your hair, let it grow back, get this, do that, and then once you're 35 and up, decide to start a family. Because again, that is not your choice. That is the man's choice. It's your choice to accept or not to, but it's the man who starts the family. You can't marry yourself, although there are people who try. You cannot make a baby with yourself. You cannot have a long-lasting, proper relationship and family with yourself. You can certainly build a career and build a family. And there are plenty of masculine, leading, teaching, providing men who want to be quality husbands, who want to be good fathers out there. You just have to be willing to be open and honest about your unrealistic expectations and be willing to give them a chance. Good men are not boring. They're stable. There is boredom, instability. And trust me, that's the type of boredom that you want. I promise you. There's nothing like it. Build strong friendship. Laugh together. Date while married, even when you have children. Be willing to evolve together. Be patient. Focus on the things you have in common, your similarities, your common goals. And be willing to go to battle with the issues that you two face together, rather than battling each other. Because you're a team and you chose each other. And always remember that although he's changing, you seem like you think he's changing, you're changing too. But being willing to, again, evolve together is what will help the relationship continue to flourish and to grow deeper within itself. So I appreciate all of your time. And that's all I got for you guys. Oh, I forgot to put up my little banner. That's okay. But yeah, that's all I got for you. The truth has been signed, sealed, and delivered by yours truly. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like the content you see, then please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my new uploads or when I go live. And if you know of any women who you think would benefit from this information, then please share. And until next time, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Not on my watch. Not on my...
But your life does not... Oh my God. Oh my God. Bruh, we gonna keep this? Nigga. I can't even reach it, bro. This is...
I'm not engaging in this conversation with you anymore, thank you.
The dog.